Coming up on the Oklahoma City Thunder Squad Show, I am going to talk all about the injury news with J-Dub and why Oklahoma City Thunder fans should not be concerned.
I'm going to tell you why last night stamped Chet Holmgren's all-star case.
I'm Jay Lamb. I'm going to talk about Lu Dort impact.
This is Locked On's Thunder Squad Show, the twice-a-week show where Thunder talk gets real. No filters, no fluff, just raw takes, sharp opinions, and straight-up passion for the game, the way only Locked On Podcast Network knows how. Let's drop some dimes and squad up. The Thunder Squad Show starts now.
What's good, everybody? Welcome in to another edition of the Oklahoma City Thunder Squad Show. Tyler Jones here with you. Happy to have you with us. Coming up on today's show, we're talking all things J-Dub, the injury status with him, what's going on there. We'll update you coming up in just a moment. Also, Chet Holmgren, his all-star campaign certainly took a step forward with his brilliant performance yesterday against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Lu Dort, his impact, he had a very good showing yesterday, and it even caught the attention of his opponent in Donovan Mitchell. We'll tell you what Donovan Mitchell had to say. And Jay Will got the start as the Thunder went with the two big lineup, but we didn't see much of Jay Will after he got the start. What's the plan going forward with iHeart and J-Dub out? We'll discuss that in our final segment here on today's program. And I got to say, by the way, off the top, guys, I don't know how many people paid attention at the top of the broadcast at NBC yesterday. Our theme song was played as they were announcing the Thunder starters. So maybe things are catching on around here with the Thunder and associating things with our show. But guys, let's start with J-Dub. The news coming out yesterday that he is going to be out for at least a couple of weeks before he gets reevaluated with the hamstring injury. He's been averaging close to 17 points and 5 rebounds a game, and as well as about 6 assists over the last 24 games. On Monday, the Thunder said they would see where Jaylin Williams is at with his right hamstring strain in a couple of weeks. He missed the first month of the season while recovering from wrist surgery. He suffered the injury last season and played hurt through the Thunder's title run. After missing the preseason in the first month of the season, he then returned in late November and started all 24 games he played in before his latest injury. So with that said, Jay Lamb, let's start with you here. Does it suck? Obviously it does. We certainly wish J-Dub was out there, but they played so well with him out earlier this season. Quite frankly, they played better with him out than when he was healthy out there. Give him time to get healthy, get this right, and be back for the postseason. This is not the end of the world at all. I think Oklahoma City is going to be just fine.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be worried about the team, but I would be worried about his mental at times, just because I don't know, injuries are a part of the game. And it sucks, but it does mess with people's mindset and their, physical part of the game. So I wouldn't be too worried about the team. They got a deep team and they're going to win games, but it's just, they're not going to make a long run without J-Dub. So you want him to get back healthy, but the hamstring is nothing to play with. You can't rush it back. You can't just, try to get back on the court. No, you got to make sure that it's 100% before you get back on the court, because it could lead to other things. And people know how the body works. If you start trying to cater to that and then something else happens, the body is one. So you got to make sure that you get it right. And it sucks because he was getting in a rhythm. But at the end of the day, he'll be fine. The team will be fine. It's just got to make sure that it gets back to 100%, just so that he can be able to come back for the playoffs and be 100% when it really counts.
Rylan, you look at the injury for Jalen Williams here, and we mentioned just being banged up, missed that first month, comes back, was just starting to find his footing again, and then this happens here. I mean, it's two steps forward, one step back with J-Dub here. You just hope that the timing plays itself out where he's back when it matters. I mean, that's the silver lining here, is that we still have a ways to go before we're talking postseason basketball here.
Yeah, they still have 3 months to try to get him right. And to Jeremy's point, it is devastating for him personally. Just, he's now missed 20 games on the year. He had played 24 straight games after 2 wrist surgeries this offseason. The initial one and then the cleanup procedure to take some screws out. And, the way that he caught a rhythm here the last 7 games was by getting downhill and was by being explosive to the rim, because the wrist is still not fully healed, and he's still not the jump shooter that he was prior to the wrist injury. And if this at all takes away from his ability to get downhill and that wrist doesn't heal to the point that you need it to, then it really can hurt him down the stretch of this season whenever he does return, and it can hurt the Thunder, of course, down the stretch of this season whenever he does return. So this is something where you have to really hope that this heals just right, and that he can have enough time, come back 100%, and be able to do the things he's supposed to do as an athlete, because you cannot bank on that jump shot this year. And J-Dub was very honest about that. This is a process of that wrist surgery that takes years to overcome. And you've seen it around the NBA even currently. Like Brandon Miller still is not right from his wrist surgery. Jaylen Brown is having a fantastic season, but he's talked about what a process it's been to find his jump shot again over the last few seasons for Jaylen Brown and for the Celtics. So I think that whenever you look at it, this is one of the worst things that could have happened to take away any sort of explosion that he could have if it does. So you want to make sure you're very cautious with this. And if it's a couple weeks and that turns into a couple more weeks, you got to live with it, because you need him healthy for the playoffs. And in the meantime, you've got to depend on this really deep roster to get you through, the same way they did for the first 19 games of the season. But they're starting to pile up here on the injuries of like J-Dub and Ihart still out. And then on Monday, you saw Caruso and J-Will go out as well. So I do wonder what this team's going to look like and how they're going to navigate this. But, they've dealt with injuries for last season too. They missed games with Ihart in that stretch with a calf strain. They missed Chet, of course, with a fractured hip. And he returns from a fractured hip, the first ever NBA player to fracture his hip. He returns and helps you in a finals game. So they clearly do have a good medical staff. They clearly do have a good rehab process. So there is concern, but I think that there is going to be reason for optimism that they can give J-Dub enough time to alleviate any of these concerns.
Jeremy, first name that comes to mind when we talk about other guys and the opportunity to step up now has got to be A.J. Mitchell, right? This is somebody that's had a breakout season here in this 25 through 26 campaign, and every time we've seen somebody be out, his number gets called, and he's stepped up and risen to the occasion here. I expect him once again to be that guy to capitalize on this situation.
Yeah, for sure. A.J. Mitchell gotta step up because he's one of those guys that can do a lot of different things. He's not just a shooter. He's not just a playmaker. He's not, just a defender. He could do it all. So when somebody like J-Dub goes out, it's always tough on the team because J-Dub does a lot of things. So somebody like A.J. Mitchell, who can play make, who can spot up and hit shots off the move, he could do a lot of different things. So he's definitely somebody who needs to step up because he can do a lot of different things. And like I said, when J-Dub goes out, you need somebody to step up who can do multiple things. So he's going to be a big part of it, and we've seen that he can definitely do it. When he was getting extended minutes, he was producing. So, it's just another opportunity for him and others. Other people going to have opportunities to show that, they can still play. So they doing their thing. And but I definitely look at A.J. Mitchell to do his thing and step up, and like he's been doing all year.
Rylan, we mentioned how well the Thunder played to start the year without J-Dub in the lineup. and they went through that lull, of course, for a bit while J-Dub was there. Do you think the Thunder, with J-Dub out, are going to look like the team that we saw to start the season?
Yeah, I don't think that they'll look exactly like that. The schedule being tougher plays a part in that as well. Like if you look at it, obviously they play a softer schedule to this current week. It is a week where they're going to play the Bucks tomorrow and the Pacers and the Raptors and then the Pelicans. But after that, after the Pelicans game, you've got Minnesota, you've got Denver, Orlando, San Antonio, Houston, Lakers, Suns, Bucks again to end your first half of the season and to head into the All-Star break. And so that's going to be a really difficult stretch where there's a lot of matchups in there that not only would Jetta be important just because of who he is offensively, because of who he is as an overall player, but especially with how this Thunder team likes to defend and the matchups that they're going to be facing in that stretch where you usually have to put Jetta on even Giannis at times tomorrow. And of course, we've seen him on Victor when they play the Spurs again and how big he was in that Spurs game, that Rockets game last week. You're going to play those same teams again. Plus, of course, the Denver Nuggets, where that game, no one knows what's going to happen in that game because no one knows he's going to be healthy for that game. Jokic is ahead of schedule, but is he that ahead of schedule? He's going to play on February 1st. They've also had a lot of their starters be out. So I think that it'll be too complicated of a schedule to just do what they did in those first 19 games where they were flawless and they were awesome and they were lapping the field in the NBA. It's going to be more of a grind this time. But you did see on Monday, the first games that he missed since returning from injury, Chet Holmgren was an aggressive, assertive offensive player. He helped shoulder the load of points for Oklahoma City, and it didn't impact his motor to do it on the defensive end either. And so you can find ways to step up. It's going to come down to largely, though, can you get enough performances from beyond the arc like you got last night during this stretch, because that can be the great equalizer for this team while they're banged up. If they can knock down threes at the level they did in Cleveland, then yeah, they can win a lot of games even with their injury.
Yeah, they very well could. We'll see what they potentially do here. This is the Oklahoma City Thunder Squad Show. Tyler Jones, Rylan Stiles, Jeremy Lamb here with you on this Tuesday. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Jeremy, when you look at Jaylin Williams here, and with this being the second injury that we're talking about already of this campaign, is there any concern about these injuries piling up, of that being an issue here, or is that kind of too early to tell? Does it still feel more coincidental at this juncture? What say you?
I wouldn't put the injury prone bug on him yet. Just because he has played a lot of games. He's played enough for them to win. So I wouldn't put the injury bug on him yet, but it's getting there. Just simply because, like you said, every time you look up, you don't know if he's going to be hurt or not. You don't know if he's going to play that night. It's a part of the game. But like I said, at the same time, I wouldn't put the injury bug yet, but it's getting close. And I think he can come back from it. I think he gonna be good, but he gotta be like careful with the hamstring, just simply because it's like those injuries are different. It's not just you try to stretch, you get in the weight room and then you feel good. It's not like a sprained ankle. The hamstring is different. So I'm not gonna put the injury bug on him yet, but he's getting close to that. And hopefully he'll come out of that and be able to have some healthy seasons.
Last thing before we move on, Rylan, I would say this. When it comes to this Oklahoma City team, with all the different lineups we've seen, the injuries that they've gone through, I think it's safe to say that this team is going to be prepared for about any circumstance that faces them come postseason. Knock on wood, barring an SGA injury. He missed a game or two this season, but that's about the only thing this team hasn't seen is SGA out for an extended period of time. Otherwise, they have faced every obstacle you can think of when it comes to guys being in and out at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they've seen it all, and it's been a lot of just bad luck for them. But whenever you look at it, they've missed more games than anyone not in the Clippers this season, and yet they sit here with the best record, best point differential in the NBA. And the Clippers is a little bit of funny business there because you count the Chris Paul missed games, but they sent Chris Paul home. So if you take away the Chris Paul missed games, then the Thunder have missed the most games due to injury, like legitimate injuries of anybody in the NBA. And yet here they sit. And I think that, it has been a lot of bad luck. This is the first time where it's been like a soft tissue issue for J-Dub, where it's like something that you do wonder if it will linger. But before that, in his whole NBA career, he had a eye issue where he got elbowed in the eye and it bruised his internal eye. That was just like a crazy injury. He landed on a cameraman and rolled his ankle, and then he went up for a dunk and torn a ligament in his wrist. Like, those are three pretty dramatic and crazy injuries that had nothing to do with like J-Dub himself. It was just a fluke accident. And then the hamstring thing, we know how hamstrings are. It just kind of pulled on him there for the straight. So we'll see how he deals with this, like the first one that really could linger.
Yeah, we'll see how it all ultimately plays out. More to come here on the Oklahoma City Thunder Squad Show. Up next, Chet Holmgren. He has to be an all-star. We'll explain more next. New year, new systems. This is the time when a lot of us look at the messier parts of how we run our businesses and think there has to be a better way. And there is. Streamlining your communications is one of the quickest upgrades you can make. That's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Q-U-O, the smartest way to run your business communications. Because when your team is reachable, organized, and communicating in one place, you're not just working cleaner, you're creating more opportunities to connect with customers. Your whole team can call and text from one shared business number, so nothing gets missed. Everyone sees the full conversation thread, which makes replies faster and more personal. It's no surprise Quo is the number one rated business phone system on G2. Trusted by more than 90,000 businesses, from solo operators to growing teams. Make this the year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free. Plus, get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/lockedonnba. That's QUO.com/lockedonnba. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. We continue here on the Oklahoma City Thunder Squad Show, right here on the number one sports podcast network, the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making the Locked On Thunder podcast your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On the number one sports podcast network. If you haven't already, go check out the new Everydayer Club, access to an ad-free audio feed for the Locked On Thunder podcast, compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. An invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Discord server, which includes a group chat just for listeners of this show, and you get to hang out with Rylan as well. All you have to do, my friends, is head over to lockedonthunder.supercast.com. It's lockedonthunder.supercast.com. Or you can tap the link in the show notes to learn more, to hop aboard and join us over there. All right, guys, let's talk about Chet now. Chet Holmgren, fantastic showing against the Cleveland Cavaliers on MLK Day. In 31 minutes, he finished with 28 points, went 11 of 16 from the field, 4 of 5 from 3, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks as well. Just a really good day for Chet Holmgren in that win against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And you look at his numbers for the season, averaging 18 points, 8.5 rebounds, as well as 2 blocks and 1.6 assists per game. Rylan, we know the all-star starters now. SGA is one of those. Now the attention turns to who the reserves are going to be. That's decided by the coaches. And I just don't see how Chet can't be an all-star at this point. Like, he's done everything that's needed of him so far, I think.
Yeah, I think that the history tells us of the league and of the coaches' priorities when picking all-stars, that they're going to reward a player like Chet, who's had a massive impact on both ends of the floor to get Oklahoma City where they're at right now. Despite all the injuries that we rattled off in the first segment, They are 36-8, clearly the best team in basketball with an over 800 winning percentage, and they're 7-3 in their last 10 games, and they have the best point differential in the league. And you can look at some statistics like that point differential where last year they set an NBA record for point differential. This year, they're slightly better than they were last year, despite that messy stretch that they had a couple of weeks ago. And that's just a testament to how good this roster is and how good Chet Holmgren has been. He's had to elevate his game up to a career high in points per game with 18. He has 8.5 rebounds, a career high in that category as well, with 2 blocks a night while shooting 57% from the floor, efficient at all 3 levels, especially for a big man, career high 38% from beyond the arc for Chet Holmgren as well. This guy has been dominant, just straight up dominant for this team, and especially impacting winning. And that's what coaches really prioritize. They want to balance the right stuff here. Obviously, all-stars an individual accolade, but whenever you look at how the coaches have typically predicted all-stars and picked all-stars, it's been a combination of the two things. Can you individually get it done, but also do you help your team win? Chet Holmgren checks both those boxes. And again, there's never been teams that win at an 800% clip and don't have 2 all-stars. And so whenever you're looking at it and you're saying, oh, do the Rockets deserve 2 all-stars? Do the Lakers deserve 2 all-stars? Well, there's a team that has an 800 winning percentage, and they have a guy who is way worthy of an all-star by himself individually. And it's similar to the case for J-Dub last year, and J-Dub got in. I think that Chet will get in as well.
Well, and Jeremy, when we factor in the defensive side of things, like, the offensive statistics you can compare with, all the guys that are in contention there, that 18 points holds up. But then when I look at the defensive end of what he's doing, playing as well as anybody out there, he's a defensive player of the year contender. That to me is what I think should put him over the hump. Like that cannot be ignored of how well he's played on that end.
Yeah, but it's the West, and there are people that's having better years than him. You gotta look at KD. You gotta look at De'Aaron Fox. These people are playing great basketball. I love Chet. It just depends on what you want. What is an all-star? Like, is it who's winning or who's having the best year? AD back in the day, he was on New Orleans. He was playing great, but the team wasn't winning, but he was an all-star. So, it just depends on what we going to reward. But at the end of the day, Chet, you said what? He's averaging what, 18?
Yep.
Yeah, 18 points and 8.5 rebounds.
KD averaging 26. So it just depends on what you're looking for, what you're looking to, what you want, who you want to be in the game. But at the end of the day, he's doing his thing. He's efficient. He's effective on both ends of the floor. So, he deserved to be an all-star just basically off of what his team is doing. He's a big part. He's not just playing, 8 or 10 minutes. This man he plays a valuable role on the best team in the league. So, yeah, I'll give him the all-star nod. But it just depends on what you want. It's a lot of people playing good.
Rylan, take us kind of inside for a bit. There's some politicking going on. The Oklahoma City Thunder making a strong case for Chet Holmgren of why he should be an all-star. What are some of the messaging and some of the things coming from the Thunder organization on this?
Yeah, I think that they believe that Chet Holmgren deserves an all-star nod. I think that's the right approach to have, and this is the same thing that you have to do with all these awards. You see teams, some teams do a lot more politicking than the Thunder have, but whenever you look at it, Chet Holmgren has been worthy of an all-star consideration, and pointing out the statistics about what it means to have a team that has that winning percentage of 800 or better has been the biggest thing. Like every team since 1951, the first all-star game, has had at least 2 all-stars that were able to have an 800 or better winning percentage like OKC has. And so you look at Chet, and he deserves to be an all-star. He is playing over the last few games here, the last about 7 games here at an all NBA level, much less an all-star level. And then you mentioned the defensive impact, like the fact that opponents are shooting a dreadful 48% inside of 6 feet against Chet Holmgren. That is the best in the NBA among any players who have played at least and defend at least 5 attempts a game. So any big man in the league, he's the best at it. And I think that when you look at it, they believe that should be taken into account. It's not just about the counting stats, the points per game. It's about winning impact. It's about the defensive side of the floor. And on top of the fact that he has really good counting stats and on top of the fact that he's helped this team win. I mean, I don't know of many other teams who could see all of these injuries and yet still sit here with this record, in large part, of course, due to Shea and also due to Chet. I mean, he's had to step up as the number 2 scoring option. He's had to step up and change his position from being next to iHeart to being without iHeart to changing his role in a multitude of ways on both ends of the floor because of these injuries. So he's gone through a lot this season and handled it all very well. And you can point to a ton of examples of him just being one of the best players on the floor, including on Monday, where he's one of the best players on the floor in totality of that game.
Yeah. And I don't know how you can't like Chet Holmgren, to be honest, even if you're not an Oklahoma City Thunder fan or if you're just an observer of the league. I mean, the way that he plays, can score from anywhere, so good defensively and carries himself well. I mean, you don't hear about Chet Holmgren getting in trouble or having any issues off the court. I mean, I love everything about Chet Holmgren. I've been so impressed. And what's going to be another interesting factor, Rylan, is just this format. Tell me about this. They're doing the 3 teams in this all-star tournament, the 2 American teams, the 1 world team, and trying to balance out who's American and who would go on the world team here. How does that play a factor, if it plays a factor at all, in Chet finding a spot on this all-star roster here?
Yeah, so the league has been very careful with this format to ensure that it doesn't play a factor, and that they've put clauses in there that just pick the all-stars like normal, the East All-Stars and the West All-Stars. And after we have our All-Stars like we would have any other All-Star game dating back to 1950, then we'll assign them to the teams that they need to be on. For example, Shea will be on Team World because he's Canadian. And after we get that assignment from the All-Stars, okay, this team needs 2 more players. Adam Silver will pick 2 more players to go to that team that were not selected as All-Stars, but they will go on that team to bring up the totals and to fill out the roster. So you're not worrying about filling out the rosters during this process. That'll happen after the selections are made. And if the selections are made and it's perfect, then that's great. But if the selections are made and they're not perfect, the NBA has a plan in place to put players similarly to how Adam Silver picks the injury replacements. He'll pick the filler guys to fill out rosters and compete in the All-Star game.
So with that, if you're Chet Holmgren, I'm just very curious, Jeremy. These next couple of weeks, I don't know, maybe Rylan knows when the exact deadline is for these coaches to choose these reserves. But if you're Chet Holmgren here, Jeremy, are you playing a little extra harder, something to prove? Like, are you thinking about hey, I need to do this and you do what it takes to go be an all-star here? Is that in the back of your mind, or is it still focused about the team and winning games? Do you think that matters to Chet at all?
I will say, yeah, he's focused on the team. And if he's not an all-star, then it wouldn't break his heart. But I guarantee you he wants to be an all-star. And that's everybody's goal. It's not a selfish thing. It's not like an individual thing. It's just like you want it, like when you're growing up and seeing all these all-stars, and it's like, man, like I want to be there. So I know like he probably wants to, and if he goes on a streak of, I don't know, 3 games, 20 plus, then he gonna be in there. And he knows that. So I would say he loved the team. He loved everything that's going on, his situation. But at the end of the day, he wants to be an all-star, and he knows what he got to do it. And yeah.
Yeah, we'll see if he can put it together. Go ahead, Rylan.
Yeah, February 1st is going to be the first NBC basketball night in America. They're going to announce the reserves at that time, so the coaches will have their ballots in, obviously, by the end of January. But I do think that this can be a stretch for him, that he gets to do both. He gets to have his cake and eat it too, right? Where it's like, obviously, he wants to be an all-star. J-Dub is out. He's going to have to be more aggressive offensively. He's going to have bigger performances for this team to win. So inside of the team and inside of helping the team win, he gets to bolster his all-star case because they need him to. They need him to have games like Monday, not in a selfish way, not in a, hey, we want our teammate to be an all-star, but in a, you got to win games. And like, he's going to have to have really good nights here coming up to be an all-star and to help this team win. So he does get to balance out both.
Yeah, it's a good spot to be in for him personally, that he can, kind of show out, do his thing, and it's to the team's benefit. He's not hurting the team by doing so, and that's a good spot to be in. More to come on the Oklahoma City Thunder squad shows. We're halfway home. Up next, we're going to talk all about Lu Dort. Really good showing yesterday for Lu against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he also got some credit from the other side. We'll tell you what Donovan Mitchell had to say about Lu Dort as well as we continue here on the Oklahoma City Thunder squad show. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert start to finish without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms and work to get you every deduction. You can upload your documents, go about your day, and get updates right in the TurboTax app. It's a huge time saver and gives real peace of mind knowing an expert is handling it. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back into your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. We are halfway home here on the Oklahoma City Thunder squad show. Jeremy Lamb, Rylan Stiles, Tyler Jones back here with you now. Let's talk all about Lu Dort, fellas. Yesterday, a strong showing for Lu Dort in 33 minutes. He finished with 18 points, 6 of 7 from the field, 5 of 6 from three-point range. His plus-minus was plus 34 in the win against Cleveland. And after the game, Donovan Mitchell, the star of the Cleveland Cavaliers, was asked in the post-game availability about, what makes things tough going up against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And he pointed to Lu Dort, saying that dealing with him, it's difficult. He's one of the best defenders in the league. He's had some good nights against him. But these last few matchups, he's made it tough on me, giving credit where credit's due there to Lu Dort. Jeremy, I'll start with you. Lu Dort getting praises from one of the best in the league, like Donovan Mitchell there. That says a lot about Lu Dort. We all know it's good. He's good. I like when his peers are giving him credit as well like that.
Yeah, for sure. That always feels good when you got the people you're going against, they give you, that nod, like, yo, like, you really doing your thing, especially somebody like Donovan Mitchell, because he's elite on the offensive end. So if you give him trouble, you already know, like, you're doing your thing. But I get upset at Lu Dort just simply because sometimes he makes fouls and does different things that it's like, yo, why did you do that? So I understand everybody saying like he's like, a great defender and this and that. And I feel like he could take it to another level. He could literally go to another level. And that's why OKC is so good, because he can guard knock down shots, but also knock down big shots. He's not just out there just roaming around. He's really out there hitting big shots, making big time defensive plays. He's doing his thing. He can guard anybody. He can guard LeBron, or he can guard a point guard. And that's probably one of the reasons why Shea is so good. He got to go against these great defenders in practice. He's like, man, I've seen this before. So Lu Dort is a great asset to the team, not just for what he does on the court, but what he does off the court, how he carries himself. It's a great thing to see. So yeah, he's definitely doing his thing. And he's making the team better without even realizing it.
Rylan, you look back at yesterday's game, and we mentioned what Donovan Mitchell said. He was held to 19 points. If you could hold a guy like Donovan Mitchell to 19 points with Lu Dort doing a good bit of that, like you're feeling pretty good. When a guy like Mitchell, who's one of the best scorers in this league, held under 20 at home, that's a really good sign. That's a good showing for the work that Lu's doing.
Yeah, I mean, 19 points with 8 of them coming at the free throw line. And you look at it with Lu, this has been a trend for him, which is why Donovan Mitchell was forced into giving him a lot of credit. And Mitchell's a very transparent athlete, and I love that about Donovan Mitchell. Last 3 games against Lu Dort, Donovan Mitchell, Spider, one of the best scorers in the league. He's averaging 9.6 points per game on 22% shooting from the field and 20% shooting from 3. Like, he is just absolutely just forced into difficult shots and just cannot get to his spots and cannot score the basketball with any sort of efficiency, and cannot score the basketball period enough to help his team win. It is a brutally tough matchup for Donovan Mitchell against Lu Dort, and that's what makes Lu Dort one of the best defenders in the league. Kenny Atkinson called him the best perimeter defender in the league. You can debate that, of course, but he is one of the best for sure. And so whenever he's on in a big way. And last night, he had it on both ends of the floor. What he was doing to Donovan Mitchell on one end, and then on the offensive end, he had the perfect Lu Dort game. And whenever he can hit his threes at a high clip and make good decisions with the ball, like driving the paint and kicking to Wiggins, like when he can do those things, he can be a really high-impact player for this team, and he's proven that on the biggest stages. He's proven that yesterday, but you've got to get that consistency, especially offensively, to have it translate over to the defensive side and to have it translate over to an even larger impact. But defensively, there's no question. He's one of the best in the NBA.
Rylan, let me follow up on that with you here real quick. Kind of looking ahead to the postseason and potential matchups that Oklahoma City could face. Is there anybody out there that, in your opinion, that Lu Dort could be facing that you say, that intrigues me? That could be a difference in that series, or he could really slow down that specific star. Is there anybody in particular that you think that Lu Dort can be kind of a kryptonite for?
Yeah, I mean, he's had a lot of success against Luka. And I mean, you look at it back in the 2024 playoffs, like Luka was not having Luka magic games against Oklahoma City. He was a facilitator, and the Thunder got beat by their role players. And that is a credit to Lu Dort that they didn't get beat by Luka, because Luka is so good that he can beat you by himself. You look at what he did to Anthony Edwards last year in the Western Conference Finals. I mean, Minnesota had one good game, and they blew out OKC in game 3 in Minnesota after going down 0-2. And then they got gentlemen swept in the Western Conference Finals going in 5 down in OKC. And Anthony Edwards talked about it after the series was over. He just could not score. He could not get to the rim. He could not get into his bag work. He had to be more of a facilitator like Luka. But the difference, Anthony Edwards' guys did not hit the shots. I mean, they missed so many corner threes that it did not matter that they were leaving those guys open to force Anthony Edwards into just a absolute terrible series scoring the ball wise. But I thought that Anthony Edwards had a good decision-making series. He just didn't get rewarded for it the same way that Luka did, because his teammates didn't hit the shots. But when you can turn off the scoring prowess of an Anthony Edwards, of a Luka Doncic, that's a big deal. And of course, Jamal Murray is going to be someone who they're going to have to worry about in a big way. But I think that those are the two teams that you think you can have some confidence about Lu Dort as just completely shutting them off and trying to shut them off. But then you look at the Spurs and the Nuggets, the two bigger contenders. They each have differences with how Lu can be effective on them. Like, Lu can't stay in front of Fox, physically. Fox is just too fast for him. He can, though, play more up and into Dylan Harper. So then you've got to slide Kaysen into Fox, who's the more potent player, and Jamal Murray is someone who Lu is very familiar with, as they both have played for Team Canada, obviously. So like that can give him a leg up there. And of course, they saw it last year where Jamal Murray had a couple of good games in that series, but he was not the reason why they went to 7. Obviously, Jokic was incredible. So I think that with Lu, you feel pretty good about where you're at, but especially against Luka. That track record is the track record for a reason, and they can throw so many different bodies at him that you saw how it looked in the Paycom Center, in the first month of the season. He was flustered, and he wouldn't even take a step inside the arc because he did not want to try to get past any of these Thunder perimeter defenders, including Lu Dort and Cason Wallace. So, Cason Wallace was in that game because of Lu Dort being absent. So it's like Cason Wallace has that ability too. They have just so many options to defend guys like this.
So speaking of those options, Jeremy, let's let you play coach for a second. All right. Here, let me throw out this hypothetical at you, Jeremy. We know that Cason Wallace won Defensive Player of the Month recently, and we know how good Lu Dort is. If you're coaching this team, which one gets the better player? Like which guy do you trust more when it comes to taking on, trying to slow down that top talent of sorts? Do you lean more towards Cason, or do you lean more towards Lu Dort here, Jeremy?
Definitely Cason Wallace. It's not even a question. Like, he is elite on that end of the floor. It's not even a question. I love Lu Dort. He do his thing, but Cason Wallace is different. He's different on that end. He's always in the right spot. And he can guard anybody. Lu can too, but I would say Cason is just a little bit more disciplined on defense. And it's tough because you don't want to, you don't want to, with Lu Dort, you don't want to discredit his aggressiveness, but at the same time, it's you got to know when to tone it down. And that's what Cason does. He's aggressive, but he tones it down at critical points in the game. So if I had to have the best defender on the court, whether it's late game, whatever, I'm picking Cason. But I like Lu Dort starting. I like him starting, and I like Cason coming off the bench. So yeah, if I had to pick, I would pick Cason, but I like Lu starting for sure.
Okay. Rylan, we talk about lineups and just getting creative. And I think about the end of game situations. If, you're looking to get a stop, or if you have a big lead and are trying to protect it, if you put a defense first strategy out there, I mean, assuming everybody's healthy, just some of the stuff you could do, why not throw out Caruso, Lu Dort, Cason Wallace, and Chet all out there together? Try scoring on that. Or, just the idea, there might be multiple all defensive players on this team here. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities for some of those short sub situations, whether it be late in games, whatever it may be, where if you're playing the foul game, or if you have the timeouts to make it work, that you can capitalize on those chances to get those stops when you need.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, and they're gonna have the ability to win the chess match with a lot of their personnel, because they have so many different looks that they can give you, and they can start it from the word go. I mean, you look at that Minnesota series, for example. They start double big the entire time, but in every game, Minnesota's thinking, okay, they're double big. We get to play Randall and Rudy, and then all of a sudden, 2 minutes into the game, 3 minutes into the game, they've taken off Ihart, and it's just Chet out there. And now you're having to defend from getting a traditional center in there, then now Chet's the 5. And then, okay, let's make our adjustment now after the Thunder go on a run. But now Chet's coming out and Ihart's back in. Now you're having to readjust to a traditional center as opposed to the kind of spacer that Chet is. So I think that they can start that really from opening tip-off, but especially late in games. I mean, the Mark loves to play offense, defense at dead balls, and you cannot have a better team designed to do this, where if you need to stop late, you just rush out there to the table, all 5 of your best defenders, and you could have a lineup there that you're not worried about offense, because if something were to happen and you were to get in transition, that's a great thing, and all these guys are great in transition, where you have J-Dub out there with Caruso, with Kaysen, with Lou, with Chet, and you go defend. If you guys get a stop and you're running the floor, I'm not going to stop you. I trust all you guys to go dominate in transition. And if you don't get the stop and now we're inbounding the ball, if there's time in the court where we're still ahead and you need to foul and go to the line, you trust these guys to hit free throws. And if you, of course, need to advance the ball and call a timeout, then you can sweep in your offensive prowess unit there as well. So they just have so many options at their disposal to close games. And the thing that you're going to see with the Thunder is they're not afraid to do anything. Like you look at Lu Dort, this is in the regular season where he went on a stretch of 3 games where he just was not playing good basketball. And in 3 games after starting, he played under 20 minutes. I mean, he just did not close the games. He did not finish the games because they had to prioritize winning the game at the end while walking that line of, hey, we still got to play Lou, still got to get him right, still got to get him going. And so that's the part where it's like, it's good on Mark to not let that dictate how you coach the game, but also good on the players to realize like, hey, Lu Dort didn't sit there and pout whenever he only played 19 minutes as a starter one night. He came back and on Monday had an amazing game because they're so bought into the team and they're so bought into, hey, even if it's not my night, it could be your night. And as long as it's one of our nights, we're going to win the game and we're all going to be happy.
Final segment ahead on the Oklahoma City Thunder squad show. Jaylin Williams, I know he got a little banged up yesterday, lower back contusion, but he did get the start. Will we see more J-Will going forward? We'll discuss that as we wrap things up here on this Tuesday. Stay with us here on the Oklahoma City Thunder squad show.
I carry a lot of responsibility in my household. If something happened to me, there would be serious consequences. We have a mortgage. We got tuition. We got everyday bills. Those aren't going anywhere if something happens to me. And I know that's an overwhelming feeling, but I'm taking steps to protect my family by getting life insurance through Ethos. Ethos makes getting life insurance fast, easy, and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. There's no medical exam. You just answer a few simple health questions. You can get up to $3 million in coverage. Some policies are as low as $30 a month. And as of March 2025, Business Insider named Ethos the #1 no medical exam instant life insurance provider. Ethos has 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot with over 3,000 reviews. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos now by going to ethos.com/LocdownNBA. In as little as 10 minutes, you can get your free quote and up to $3 million in coverage at ethos.com/LocdownNBA. That's ethos.com/LocdownNBA. Ethos.com/LocdownNBA. Application times and rates may vary.
Final segment before we go here on this Tuesday. Appreciate y'all joining us on the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. It is the Oklahoma City Thunder Squad Show. Jeremy Lamb, Rylan Stiles, Tyler Jones back here with you now. Guys, let's talk about Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams, that is, J-Will. Yesterday, did get a little banged up, lower back contusion, did not return. But prior to the injury, he was off to a decent start. In 8 minutes, scored 6 points, 2 of 4 from the field, 2 of 2 from three-point range with 3 rebounds and 2 assists. The Thunder go with that double big lineup. And Rylan, we'll start with you on this. That was interesting that they went with the double big, but with Jalen in that case. Usually we only see the double big lineup when we're talking Ihart and Chet together. That was unique and until the injury, and we'll get obviously an update soon on J-Will and see how long he's out or how long this takes. But that looked like it was going pretty well, all things considered, until he got banged up there. When he comes back and such, do you think this is something we see potentially more of?
Yeah, I don't think that it'll be something that they go to a ton. This was, I think, a very matchup-dependent move where you're playing Cleveland, who has Mobley and Allen, and especially with Ihart out, obviously, whenever Ihart's healthy, that's kind of your double big lineup. And the reason that you can't really do it against every team or play that style against just as a option for you is because of your lack of depth in the front court. I mean, you have Ihart obviously out right now. Thomas Sorber's out for the season. And so now with Brendan Carlson running up against his games played limit, he wasn't even active last night. And so that was even a risky decision to start those two guys together, because past those two guys, you're leaning on Kenrich Williams playing the 5. Caruso obviously got hurt last night too. So it's like then even your small ball lineups are without their two best small ball centers of J-Dub and Caruso, whenever those two guys went out. So you can't really afford to make this something that you lean into a whole lot, because you need someone behind Chet. And right now, depending on the status of Ihart, Caruso, and we already know the status of J-Dub, you just don't have enough bodies in the front court to make this something that you go to a lot. However, you could see once Ihart returns that if you want to get more data on it, it doesn't start the game by any means, obviously. But in that second stint of Chet Holmgren coming into the game, whenever he's there without Ihart, do you slide J. Will in there also and keep that double big look against bigger teams and trust J. Will and Chet to play together on both ends of the floor? That could be something that they explore moving forward. But as far as like why I got the start last night, I think it was totally about the Cavs and how they not played the Cavs. They wouldn't have started that way.
I look at what he's done. They needed him against the Spurs last week. 23 minutes, he puts up 11 points. That first game against the Heat back on the 11th and 14 minutes, he played pretty solid, 9 points. Going 1 of 2 from 3, got to the foul line decent amount, 6 of 6 from the free throw line in that game. Like, Jeremy, the thing with that I've seen from him over these last couple of weeks is that he's done exactly what you're looking for from a role player, where when his name has been called upon, he's been ready to go. You're muted. You're muted, Jeremy. There we go.
He's a great role player, but he's also he's a glue guy. Like he like keeps the team together. You see how everybody was talking about him, like it's different when he's not on the bench or playing. The team is different. So I love that about him, the fact that even though he doesn't play that much at times, he's still making an impact. So that's great. But I also, what is his injury?
The lower back contusion.
Okay, so how long they saying that he gonna be out?
He's day to day right now.
Yeah.
Day to day. Okay, well that's good. I mean, it's day to day. Like I said, he's a glue guy, and the fact that it's day to day it's not a huge injury or anything like that you should be worried about. So I feel like he take care of his body. Everybody in OKC take care of their body, and they got great trainers, great coaches, great massage therapists, everything. So it's good that it's day to day, and hopefully he can get back as soon as possible.
Speaking of that injury being day to day, Rylan, Caruso also got banged up yesterday. He's day to day. We mentioned, with J-Dub being out for a couple weeks with the hamstring, and Ihart, of course, with that calf injury, he's been out for a while. That's 4 injuries right now to some pretty solid players for Oklahoma City at this point. Like now, you're really starting to eat away at some numbers in the rotation here.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to depend on your guys to step up, like Kenrich Williams, who did that whenever you were shorthanded on last Friday against Memphis, and you need him to step up. You're going to have to play an even shorter rotation at times, like they did a little bit yesterday, where they leaned into just playing Isaiah Joe a lot more, and Isaiah Joe made it worth it. Had to play him a lot more yesterday. He was awesome. And you look at it, the Thunder still got in there because of the blowout stuff. They still got in there Oos and Chris Youngblood and everything. But in general, like Jay Will went out and Caruso went out before they hit 10 minutes of play. They just played 20 minutes of Kenrich and 26 minutes of AJ and 19 minutes of Kaysen and 25 minutes of Isaiah Joe. So you really only had 3 guys off the bench or 4 guys off the bench that you really went to, which is abnormal for this Thunder team. But now they just have to face it like any other team would, and they have the guys to step up and fill that gap and fill that void. It will just be a problem for the potential near future, because, for example, Wednesday against Milwaukee, we're still awaiting the injury report to come out for that game as we're on the show live. But Wednesday against Milwaukee, if you don't have iHeart and you don't have J Will and you don't have Caruso and you don't have J-Dub, Giannis is going to name a score. And I was singing Chet's praises a segment ago. Giannis is a different player and a different kind of athlete to try to defend, and you can't defend him with one body, and the Thunder have never tried to defend him with one body, and your front court is really shallow, and it's going to be really hard to contain Giannis tomorrow. So it's like there's going to be matchups like that where you're really going to feel their absence. But again, if they can hit threes like they did last night, which is a big if because they're a very streaky, inconsistent three-point shooting team, but that can help equalize them. It's never been more important than now for this team to get hot from the three-point line.
Yeah, it's a very good point there, and certainly Jay Will could help out their cause there when it comes to getting hot at the three-point line. We want to thank you for tuning in to the Locked On Thunder podcast. Make sure to subscribe and follow the Locked On Thunder podcast so you get all the latest episodes. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get the Locked On Thunder podcast ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. All you have to do is head over to lockedonthunder.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we send you the first ever 24/7 national NBA YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen NBA game night on Locked On NBA. Check it out there. All right, we got a little bit of time left before we kind of wrap things up here on this front. Looking ahead for the Oklahoma City Thunder, let's kind of dive into that real quick over the next few days. You got this matchup against the Bucks, as Rylan mentioned here, going up against Giannis and company on the road, part of the NBA's rivals game, which that's a whole nother story that doesn't make sense. Oklahoma City, Milwaukee rivalry, sure. Then on Friday, you play the Indiana Pacers, and then you play the Toronto Raptors on Sunday, and you begin the week with the Cavs. Jeremy, playing some Eastern Conference teams over the next couple of days, a little different than the teams we typically see night in and night out.
Yeah. I mean, the East is close over there, but at the end of the day, it's some good teams over there. OKC should win all those games. But at the end of the day, they got some good teams in the East. I wouldn't take them lightly just because there's some stars over there. It's a different dynamic in terms of like the teams, because the teams aren't as good, but they got some good players over there, and I think OKC should win all these games, but at the end of the day, they shouldn't take them lightly. It's a good conference over there. I played in the East for a long time, and just because the teams aren't as good, it's no off nights. So yeah, I think they should win those games, but at the end of the day, make sure that you locked in, and you got to go take it. You can't just think you're gonna walk in the game and win. You got to take those games by force, how they've been doing all year. And yeah, I think they'll do that.
And the Thunder have had an excellent track record against teams in the Eastern Conference over the last couple of years. We'll see if that continues this week. Rylan, you got more coverage on the channel over the next couple of days here. What's ahead?
Yeah, coming ahead, we've got some NBA draft talk tomorrow. We're going to talk about also Isaiah Joe's role with this team tomorrow and how he can be important for their playoffs. And then, of course, recapping that Bucks game and recapping the rest of the week as it unfolds. So plenty of stuff here on Locked On Thunder, plus our other squad show on Thursday at 3:30. We're ready for that as well. We're ready for a fun week ahead.
Certainly so, guys, and we look forward to bringing it to you right here on the Thunder Squad Show. Back again on Thursday, 3:30 Central Time. We will see you then. Appreciate y'all joining us. For Rylan Stiles, Jeremy Lamb, I'm Tyler Jones. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We will see you on Thursday.